Once upon a time, deep inside the jungle, there lived an old witch. This nenek kabayan lived in a cave surrounded by a magic circle. Pada waktu siang, dianya sebagai kucing liar atau burung hantu. Pada waktu malam, dianya sebagai nenek kabayan semula. She had the power to entice birds and animals into her cave. And there she would kill them, and she would hang their bones and skin on the walls of that cave. If a young man ever found himself inside that magic circle, he would become frozen. If a young maiden found herself inside that magic circle, she would be transformed into a beautiful bird. The young man would then have to wait until Nenek Kabayan came back and broke that spell and set him free. But that young maiden, she would never ever be set free. Nenek Kabayan would come and take that bird and place it inside a beautiful bamboo bird cage, pick up that bird cage and take it deep inside that cave. 10,000 sangkar burung tergantung di dalam gua itu, each with a beautiful bird that had once been a happy, carefree young maiden. Now, there lived a beautiful young maiden by the name of Umpong Umpong, and she was betrothed to a handsome young man named Babakud. Their greatest delight and joy was just to be together. One evening, they went for a walk deep inside the jungle. It was a calm and peaceful evening, the sunlight fading and the insects singing their evening song. They walked on deep into the jungle, hand in hand, when all of a sudden, without knowing why, they both began to feel sad. They looked around and they realized that they were lost. Umpong Umpong began to cry. She felt a sudden fear overcome her. Babakut tried to comfort her, but he too could sense something ominous in the air around them. Separuh matahari sudah pun tenggelam. Babakut looked through the trees and he could see the entrance to Nenek Kabayan's cave. He was terrified. Somehow they had stepped inside the magic circle. As the last rays of the sun disappeared, Umpong Umpong began to sink to the ground, singing the saddest song of all. Babakut stared at her, unable to move. He was rooted to the ground, unable to cry, unable to speak, unable to move. And right before his eyes, he saw his beloved transform into a beautiful peacock. Suddenly, an owl flew around them 3 times, screeching loudly before disappearing into a bush. Immediately, an old, bent woman stepped out of that bush. She had red skin, red glowing eyes, and a hooked nose that almost touched her chin. Nenek Kabayan caught the peacock and placed it inside the bamboo bird cage and took it towards her cave. Poor Babakut. He stood speechless and motionless and waited for the witch to come back and break that spell. Babakut fell to his knees and begged the witch to please give him back his Umpong Umpong. The witch just laughed and told him that he would never see his true love again. She warned him never to step inside the magic circle, for he would become a statue, frozen forever. Babakut stumbled out of that jungle and somehow found himself in a village, and there he became a keeper of buffaloes. He never forgot his beloved Umpong Umpong, and often he returned to that jungle, but he always stopped before the magic circle, remembering the warning words of the witch. One night, Babakut had a dream. And in his dream, he found a blood-red flower. And in the center of that flower was a big, white, shining pearl. And in his dream, he plucked that red flower and ran to the witch's cave. And there, everything that he touched with that red flower was freed from its enchantment. And in this way, he managed to rescue Umpong Umpong. When Babakud woke up, he remembered his dream and he set off in search of that blood-red flower. He searched in the valleys, in the mountains, and in the rivers, and for 9 long days he did not give up hope. And finally, on the 10th day, he found that blood-red flower, and right in the center of that flower was a shining dewdrop, just like a pearl. Babakud plucked that red flower and made his way to the witch's cave. This time, when Babakud stepped inside the magic circle, he was still able to move. He held on to the red flower and he walked deeper into the cave. Babakud was listening. He was listening for the sound of birds singing. He walked and walked and walked until he heard birdsong. And there he saw Nenek Kabayan deep inside the great cave, surrounded by thousands of bamboo bird cages, all full of birds singing their hearts away. Which one was his true love? Which one was Umpong Umpong? All of a sudden, the witch saw Babakud and she flew into a rage. Her skin turned dark red and she blew a cloud of green poison towards him. But the poison did him no harm, for he still held that magic flower in his hand that protected him. How was he going to find Umpong Umpong among all of these birds? There were so many different birds. There were hornbills, there were nightingales, there were peacocks. As he was thinking, Babakud saw Nenek Kabayan pick up one bamboo bird cage and make her way to the back of the cave. And Babakud saw a beautiful peacock inside that bird cage. Quickly, Babakud ran towards the witch and touched her with the blood-red flower, making her powerless. Nenek Kabayan fell to the ground. Babakud knelt down and opened the door to the bamboo bird cage, and out stepped that beautiful peacock and transformed into Umpong Umpong, as lovely as the day that he had lost her. Babakud walked all around that cave with his red flower, and he touched every single bird cage. One by one, the birds transformed back into the beautiful young women that they once were. When they were all set free, Umpong Umpong and Babakud returned to their village, hand in hand. Of course, they got married and had children of their own, who had children and whose children told me never to step inside the magic circle deep inside the jungle, for I too may be turned into a bird.